hate to be the one to break it to you, but sex education of the past failed us. Because birds and bees, they don't fuck. Welcome to Birds and Bees Don't Fuck, a show where we learn exactly how bad our formative sex education, or lack thereof, really was. I'm your host, Arielle Zadok. My guest today is a comedian, host, actor, and co-creator of Kinky Comedy. He's funny, he's kinky. Please welcome to the show, Maurice James.
Hey. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. This is part 2 of a series because we're roping people in. So now people get the other half of Kinky Comedy, and we had. Well, you're both the comedy and you're both the kinky, but like you bring the kink. Well, it's your backyard too. You brought the yard. You literally brought the yard.
I brought the yard, and I don't mind being roped in. We like rope, so that works out nicely. Yeah, and I'm glad to be here.
Oh my God. I have to say, so I've been wearing these cuffs by Crave. Link is below because I love Crave. And they are actually bondage cuffs too.
Ooh,
so I went to go see a lover last night, and we started to play, and he said, "Put your hands behind your head." And I said, "Actually," and he was like, "Oh my God, they're functional and stylish." And I said, "Yes, they are."
We love a prepared sub. You come with your own gear. That's great.
Yes.
Love that.
Ever the producer.
Ever the prepared sub. I love that. That's the best kind of sub.
Exactly. You got to be prepared. You just got to be. The best sex, it's just like a production. The best sex comes from being prepared. The best productions come from being prepared.
I agree. I failed being a Boy Scout. So being a Dom is kind of like the next best. We just do Dom training for kids because the preparedness actually comes into play a lot. Now, that's not a great pitch, but of course,
maybe not for kids, but
their reputation is already bad enough. So I don't like, this could only help.
But that is because most Doms don't actually have training. Like, it is something. I have several friends. Actually, the BDSM coaches was on this show. I'm going to link that below because y'all need to know her and train with her. But there's a reason why people are teaching this stuff, because they are really important skills. And then you have like, sorry dudes, but this is mostly with dudes being like, "I'm a Dom," or like, "I'm a pleasure Dom." Bitch, no, you're not. You just want to think that you are really good at giving people pleasure, but like, you have no skills, no expertise. You've not actually learned the art of domination or like how to give commands. And like, there's so much to it. So it's no, I support Dom schools.
Yes, and I completely agree. And to be a good Dom, you have to have experience being a sub. Like, I feel like even if you're not a sub, like every tool I use, everything, I've also experienced how it feels on the other side of it. And so there's a duality to it, top, bottom, Dom, sub, masculine, feminine. And you really have to have an understanding, or at least an appreciation for both sides. Yeah. Because, being a Dom is sort of creating a safe space and understanding what what the container is that you're trying to create and the space you're trying to create. So it's a lot to it. I mean, before you get to boss people around, you need to be a good follower and be bossed around yourself. So yeah, it's kind of wild.
I love that you say that. And I love that you bring that up. And it is something like, you as the Dom, like, there's so much responsibility. And just like you said, as a sub, there's responsibility too, right? Like, I have to be able to communicate things. We're co-creating an experience together. And it's really important that both parties know what the fuck they're doing and how to communicate and how to acknowledge things in your own body. And for the Dom, you are creating an experience. We're co-creating, but you have to be able to know how to manage things. You have to be a good manager. You have to be a good producer. You have to be good at emotional intelligence. You have to have safety knowledge. Like, there's so many different aspects to it. And I think it's really valuable also for you to experience both sides. Yeah. Some people are just like, "Oh my God, I can't be a sub." Like, it's not about control. It's about flow of energy.
Right. And if you are protecting some sort of idea of masculinity or dominance or something like that, is a restriction that you've got to get over.
Yes.
If you are being held back by restraints in your own mind, it's going to be really hard to being held back by actual restraints.
Yeah.
You got to kind of, like, your mind and body are connected. So it's really great. Yeah, I completely agree. And I very much love the idea that you get to create a container and then you get to play inside that container. And I feel like that balance of creativity but constraint is sort of a recurring theme in my life.
Yeah.
And I was like wildly creative, but you need a sandbox, and the sandbox has to have a box.
It needs a box. I mean, not always, but like if you're into boxes.
I'm like, Arielle. I'm like, I think I know what episode 3 is going to be about.
The continuation. The box. What's in the box?
I'm in the box.
If you watch Late Night Playset, you are going to get that reference on another level too. It's another show, and every time Jay Ryan opens up anything in the box, I'm there and I'm like, what's in the box?
Oh,
it's just like a thing. So
that's awesome.
It's creating a container. And I think a lot of people come into dom sub dynamics thinking that it is about control, and it is about restraining someone and telling someone what to do, and like, relinquishing control. And you're not really, to a degree, I guess you can be considered like relinquishing control, but not all dom sub play is about that by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
Like, I don't want to be controlled.
No.
I'm a sub, but I do not want to be controlled. I want to feel safe enough that I can trust you to lead. I can trust that you know what I like, that you know how to read my boundaries, that you know how to communicate, that you know how to check in, that we've talked about what each of us like and what each of us don't like. Shout out to my yes, no, maybe list. I'm gonna link that shit below too. Mine or anybody else's. Like, it's about trusting that person, as you said, to create that container so that I can actually let go and turn my brain off and turn my cognitive brain off, knowing this person knows what I like. They know what I don't like. I can trust them to create this experience for me without me being on high alert for I am in danger.
Love that. And I think the trust is a key factor. And what I usually say to doms that are new is, because that's a hard thing to sort of assume that you can have, because trust is built and then earned, and the way it's built is through communication. My least favorite, like I hate the most when I'm working with a sub and I ask her what she wants, or him or whoever, what she wants or what she wants to do, and she says, "Oh, whatever. I'm down for whatever." Or like, anything what do you want to do, or anything is good. That's horrible. And so you've got to communicate, hey, what do you want? And that's what the training is. That's what negotiations are, is sort of getting into the conversation of like, okay, what are you into? And then knowing what questions to ask to kind of understand where those boundaries are. That takes some practice, but it also is something that can be trained and learned. So it is a really important thing to understand how to communicate, how to then build trust, and then how to build a container. I like to say, I don't really do scenes. I like to go on journeys.
Yeah.
That's kind of like my thing. It's like,
road trip.
Yes, exactly. Get in the back, we're going on a journey. And that's like kind of like a fun way of creating an adventure or a journey together. So it's not just I'm doing something for you or you doing something for me, but we're doing this together and we're going on a journey. So
it is. And I love that, because you are going on a journey, and just like any journey, you have the different steps. Like if you think about it, I think about these things as a production, because like ever the producer, also fuck like the movies. I don't sell it, but it exists. So I'm just going to link a bunch of shit to this show, because y'all need some resources. We all need resources, whether it's from me or anybody else. I don't care. Just get resourced. You're already watching this. You're doing a great job. But like, I always think about it as a production, because you have you have your setting, you like the script, which is like your yes, no, maybe list and the things you want to do. You've got your characters, which is your erotic persona. You've got your costume. So like, what do you want to be wearing? Is it going to be lingerie? Is it going to be bondage stuff? Are you going to wear a rope? Like, who knows? So many things there. You've got your props. You've got your story beats. You've got...
What are your intentions?
Intentions. You've got all of these things to like craft the experience, and all of the like intimacy meetings, your pre-production meetings, right? But if you overlay that over a road trip or a journey, if that's what you'd prepare, well, you're going to decide where you're going. You're going to get your tickets. You're going to research the place. You're going to make sure you got car snacks. You need car snacks.
Snacks are key.
You need snacks.
Gotta have snacks.
Seriously, fuck me, feed me. In that
less.
Order too.
I know, like, yes, say less. I'm like, exactly. I love that.
Yeah, it's but think about all of these other things that we do in life, where we are preparing, we're doing the research, we're getting the things together that we need to make sure that it's a successful time. You're filling the car up with gas, you're checking the oil, you're doing all these things. But then when it comes to sex, we're just like, I don't know, I'm just going to wing it.
Yeah, and we just kind of expect to know what to do, and I think the key is just communication is key with the other person, because it also requires you to have communication with yourself. So if you don't know how to please yourself, how can you tell me how to please you? If you can't understand what's going on with you, how am I supposed to know? You know, so you have to be able to, communication sort of like requires you to have some sort of internal conversation with yourself, and that's the first step.
That's the hard step for a lot of people, to have that internal conversation. And the other thing that I wanted to mention before, when we were talking about trust, there has to be a lot of trust in the sub, because if they're on the receiving end of an experience, then it is so important for the dom to trust that person can express their boundaries, can express when something is too hard, too light, too soft, too far, too anything. Or that, you know, if you're doing shibari, like if you're starting to get tingly. I was tying with a friend the other day, with Bradley actually, Professor Rope, shout out. And so I had my hands in like something, I think I was like this or something, and I could start to feel this. And I am very aware, first of all, because I'm aware of all these things and the physical things that are happening in your body, and of like, I'm hyper aware. So for me, being tied up, yes, I'm in the experience, but it is my job to communicate to him, hey, I'm starting to feel a little bit of tingly in this area of my body. Yeah. I think it's okay right now, but this is what's starting to happen. Or I'm starting to feel heat here, or this hurts, or this is uncomfortable. Because when you don't do that, I could lose feeling I could lose everything in my hand. And he's never going to know, because he is not in my body.
We're playing with fire, sometimes literally,
which is some of my favorite play. I love fire play. Holy, I mean, I am a fire spinner, so.
Oh, okay, yeah, exactly. We're gonna get to that later. And I like to say that, like, I love no's because they make me believe your yeses more. And so oftentimes in negotiations, what I'll do is, as I'm asking questions, I'll actually ask questions that I know the answer is no, just to see how the sub is able to answer a no, how they look and feel when they say a no. So I'll like deliberately like ask, I mean, this is, ridiculous question. Like, oh, do you want me to like, drop you off of a building? And like, obviously she doesn't want that, but I can hear her say, no, that's a boundary. Oh, okay. Do you want me to like tie you up from the ceiling? Oh, that's a boundary. And being able to hear the no's is really helpful for me, not only for that conversation to happen, but then I could get to observe how the no look and feels in her body, so I can like kind of really dial in and calibrate.
Yes, that is some expert level shit, because when I lead workshops where I'm going to have people interacting with each other, and when I have them doing any sort of like touch-based things, or just anything that they're going to have to exercise that no, I have them start off with a no exercise. Yeah. And I have them do 3 rounds, and each of them has to do both of it, like both sides. And so I'll have them do the first one. That's something that's like so fucking stupid. Nobody cares. It's ridiculous. Like no one cares. It's like, can I have a piece of gum? Or like whatever. There's nothing attached to that. There's no feeling. Right. Like no one really cares that much. That's an easy no. And it can feel silly. Fine. Let it feel silly. The second one is something that you might actually want. Like it's not going to like really break the bank or anything. It's not anything that you're like yearning for that means a lot. So maybe it's just like, will you brush my hair? Great. A little bit higher stakes than asking for gum, but still pretty low stakes. Yeah. Then the third round, you have to ask for something that you really fucking want in life, in this moment, whatever it is. It can be like, I really want to, will you book me for this performance? Something like that, if you're a performer, right? Like, let's say it's a show you really want to do. Whatever the case is, just choosing something that you really genuinely in your body very much want. And the other person's job is to consistently say no, no matter what. Yep. They can do it in different ways, but your only job as the person receiving the question is to say no. Even if you want to say yes, you just say no.
You got to practice your no's.
You got to practice those no's. Yeah. And you have to practice hearing no when the stakes are high.
All right, let's practice real quick. Okay. Arielle, would you like for me to brush your hair?
I would, but I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I believe that no.
I'm like, that feels so nice.
I know, right? I was like.
But no, we're in the middle of a show right now, so we're not going to do that.
Cut. No.
Maybe visit the Patreon.
behind the paywall. That's when you get like the hairbrushing videos.
Yeah, the hairbrushing videos are all going to be on Patreon. If they exist, I don't know. You're going to have to sign up to find out. False advertising, real advertising, who knows?
I think I did that last night. I was hosting the Melissa's Pole and Jazz show, and at one point we were asking for tips for all the performers, which is really great. And I said if they tipped enough, then I would also do a pole performance. And by the end of it, I had several people tell me, hey, you made a promise that you did not keep. And I was mistaken. So I think I owe an entire audience a pole performance at some point. So
let's fucking go.
Yeah. If you were there, this is an IOU, and I'll get back to you on that.
Well, you got to set financial limits,
This is true.
Say if you tip our performers $1,000 collectively, then Maurice is going to do it. He's going to do it.
I feel like my rate is far lower than that, but that's really cool. I
want to make people money.
Thank you so much for actually thinking so highly of me. You're like, you're a $1,000 dancer. I'm like, I would do it for less.
It's you and everybody else. It's tips for the show. It's for all the performers. So because that's when you are doing, and this is something that I really do love about burlesque and pole, is that like fucking throw your money at me. What a great feeling to have. Honey Twat. I don't know if you know Honey Twat. They're a burlesque performer, comedian. They're fantastic. And they do a show called Cinemalesque. And in the middle of the show, we do something called the Honey Twat Shakedown. And she has all of the dancers come out, and everybody comes out. And we literally, for an entire song, just like shake around the room and like get people's money. And it's so fun to just have everyone shoving dollars in every corner. And like, I'll just go to a table and like shake my booty or whatever and like offer up this, and it's great.
That's
it is
the dream.
Super fun.
Like just get money.
Yes.
That's the theme of life. I know.
Do a little shake, get a little money.
Rap songs written about it. I think all the rappers just need to dance at some point on the pole. Like that's how get money.
Get on the pole. Get on the pole, y'all.
I think that's the kind of key for this interview.
Get on the pole. So tell me how you got into kink in the first place. Like, what was that? Speaking of journeys, what was that like?
Oh man, I took acid for the first time, to be honest with you. But I may cut that out. But
so acid makes you kinky, y'all.
Acid
Beware.
makes you kinky, kids. This is a PSA. Don't do drugs. But no, it was interesting. I got into the scene actually from a Tinder date. This is actually not a great story because I got matched with somebody on Tinder at the time, and she invited me to a dinner party that she was having for the first time. Did not tell me what kind of dinner party it was, which is a no. There should have been communication, should have been consent. So this is like not a great way to get into it. Right. So I went there, and it was a kinky dinner party, and halfway through people just started like kind of undressing and getting into kink gear, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? What is going on? I did not wear the right underwear for this. It was not something I prepared for. And it was kind of intriguing. They were all friends. They all knew each other. So there was like a familiarity there, but I didn't. And so, but they were very friendly, and there was like a really welcoming and kind of non-judgmental sort of energy in the space. And I kind of was intrigued. And I often say, this is kind of one of those things where you either like it or you don't. You're either intrigued or you're like, no, not for me. So it's really kind of, it's rare somebody that's kind of on the fence. Either you're interested and then you inquire more. Yeah. You may not want to go very far into it, but you're sort of interested, or you're like, no, that's not for me. So I was interested.
At a minimum, like curious. You're at least going to be like, this feels like a lot.
Right.
I don't think I could ever do this, but
I want to know more.
What is that?
Yeah. And
they seem very open.
Yeah. I'll go into the comment section and figure this out. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I was going to say that's great. It's not great to have been bamboozled like that, but what happened after that?
So then I met a couple of people there, and as the way this thing works is you meet somebody, then introduce you to somebody else, then introduce you to somebody else. So it's really much a network of friends. And so I ended up meeting a friend who became my first sort of dom teacher and sort of mentor, and really got immersed. And it's funny because I do think that there is a correlation between kink and neurodivergence.
Oh,
where,
for sure.
Yeah, and we could definitely sort of get into the psychology of that. But it was really interesting. And I think what attracted me most about it is the clarity. You know, the world is a really ambiguous place.
Yeah.
You know, people say, yeah, I totally want you to come to my birthday party, but like, do they
Bitch,
really
you
want you to
lying.
come? Do you really want me to come to your birthday party? Or are you just saying that? You know,
Yeah.
sarcasm and
especially in LA, because I'm a New Yorker and like we will tell you the fuck
exactly. Especially in LA, it's like
different here.
It's like
different in other places.
Exactly. And LA is like the nicest, meanest people in the world.
Yeah.
And New York is the meanest, nicest people in the world. So the world is a really confusing place oftentimes, especially for people who are neurodivergent or just don't like vagueness. And kink is very, very clear. I mean, the idea that you can set very clear boundaries and then within those boundaries have rules and everyone feels safe and you know you have a safe word that you can exit the scene, or it just creates a freedom that I was very much attracted to. It is a bit taboo and there is judgment around it, which is unfortunate, because I do believe that if we could live with slightly less shame in the world, that would be a huge coup.
That would be so good.
That would be amazing.
Imagine how much, murder would go away.
Exactly. Exactly.
Just that alone.
I mean, I think there's some Republican senators, for God's sakes, who would love to just be out. Just be
out.
They
would just be out.
Just come.
We
and
know
be out.
You are breaking
cool.
down Grindr,
Yeah,
like every time y'all get together, that shit breaks. So.
And not to shame Republicans, they're Democratic senators too. I think both sides, there's a lot of people who are just kind of fronting, as we say.
Yeah. Point is, you don't need to be ashamed of your sexuality.
Yeah.
Or your desires or anything. Like,
exactly.
Unless you're going to be a fucking piece of shit to someone, you could be ashamed of that. I'm pro shame when you degrade people non-consensually. And, there are some things that you should absolutely be ashamed of. But when it comes to sexuality, expression, who you actually are, and you can't argue like, well, who I am is I like to beat people up. That's not who you are. Okay. Like that's your fear speaking. So, it is a really sad world that we live in, where so many people not only live in danger of who they actually are, and there's actual physical danger, but also that there's just so much shame. So it's perceived danger, because shame is really the fear of getting kicked out of a group, which does tie into danger and our primal needs to have food, shelter, community. Like we are community creatures. So shame inherently is just the fear of getting kicked out of the community. And when you get kicked out of a community, it's literally your safety. You don't have a home, you don't have food, you don't have your basic needs met. So that's kind of the core of shame.
I mean, we're biologically designed to seek community, and the idea of being kicked out of a group is not just scary, but it's against our DNA. It's security, it's safety. So it makes perfect sense. And then, I got sort of deeper into the scene and the kink scene. And then the sort of question that you are left with is, do I out myself? Like, how much do I tell about it? Like, do I keep this as a secret life? And there are plenty of people that do that, which, is no shame there as well. But it was and that was a really big question for me, because not just with, my personal life, your family, your friends, but then also your career, and so like really kind of figuring out. And that's sort of also when I, later switched into comedy, where it's like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I want to live my fully expressed self, which of course will mean you will get excluded from things.
Yeah.
I doubt that I will get to have a show on Disney Channel at this point, but I'll have to sort of adjust, and you have to, every choice comes with sacrifice, and so like that's kind of part of it.
Yeah. And I appreciate that, because we so often want to be included in everything.
FOMO.
FOMO is so real, and we want to be included in everything. Just like you said, that's inherently who we are, is that we want to be included. But when you're trying to fit in with everything, then you're not finding where you actually belong. You're not finding your real people. You're not finding your strongest spaces. And there is a very real thing when it comes to coming out as kinky, I've even experienced it as a sex educator too, and a sexologist, and anything with that in the title. Mm-hmm. It is very much there are the different layers of coming out to friends, coming out to family, making it publicly known. What is this going to mean for my career if I'm doing other things? And it's a little bit different when that is the work that you do, which arguably it is now the work that you do with Kinky Comedy. Mm. But I think when you're just kinky and you're just a human in the kinky world, that's why so many people have scene names, because they can't have their identities shared, because there will be real world ramifications because of so much of this shame and, you know, bullshit judgment.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you know, if you work in marketing or at Walmart, for God's sakes, you know, like shout out to Walmart. You know, there are going to be some ramifications of that. And even in I worked in entertainment for many years, and it's historically a very liberal industry, and it's owned by corporate overlords and sort of like the media companies and investors. So it's far more conservative than I think people think it is. I mean, it's not, you know, a church or a religious organization, but there is still a lot of shame there. So you do have to really, and I did this a long time ago, sort of make the decision as to, okay, this is what I want my life to be, understanding the ramifications that I might not, you know, become a trillionaire doing this, but I can create my life and a way of life that kind of fits and works. And that was the most empowering thing. And sort of saying, I don't need 3 islands. I'm fine with one, you know,
one
like
island is
one
fine.
Island is enough. I mean, not Epstein's island, but a different island.
Yeah.
Would be fine. Yeah.
But I think even, you know, not to dig into that too much here, but like, that's a perfect example of like this hypocrisy and these powerful people that are like, you know, this is bad, that is bad. Meanwhile, you're a literal pedophile. So like, you know, what are we doing? And we see that so often. And the root of these things, again, comes down to, I am too ashamed to be who I am, not as a pedophile, but like, maybe you're kinky, maybe you're this, maybe you're that. And there's so much self-hatred and so much suppression. And some people are just sick fucks, but there is also a substantial amount of people that are just so craving that sense of belonging that they will then abuse other people and do the most abhorrent things that a human can do just to fucking fit in with a bunch of fucking monsters. And then you then become a monster. So like these things work in all of the different ways.
And it's really weird too, because the idea that you can, and this goes back to the authentic, being your authentic self, where you really want to fit in, and then you have to become somebody else or put a face forward. We all have a public face and a private face, but you know, to get this job at a bank, you have to sort of pretend to be this person that you're not. And the further and further you diverge from who you are, the greater that tension becomes. And at some point, either you have to, it comes out one way or the other. It comes out in anger towards your family. It comes out in depression with the job you have. It comes out in just weighing on your body, and you keep that tension inside of you. So the more that we can be more aligned with who we are and sort of what we do, though, you know, the ikigai to some degree, that really kind of pushes a synergy, and it relieves a lot of stress and pressure. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to go and be kinky and quit their jobs, but like if you
that's
can,
not for everybody. So
that's
that's
not for
fine.
everybody. But if you want to like more closely align, be like, hey, I really am into the environment, but I work at an energy company that I don't believe in. Well, like, you know, maybe getting a job at a different, a green energy company. I'm just giving a silly example, but that might be more aligned. Right. So like you might make less money. That might be the sacrifice. Every choice has a sacrifice, but it will just, for your body's sake, be so much better. It will pay off in dividends, because you'll, you know, I'm 84 years old. Actually.
You look great.
And I look like
Black
this.
Don't crack,
so
you know?
It's like, because I'm happier. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
I honestly, I get that a lot too. I am 97, and people often ask me, what's your secret? And I just say, no kids, no husband. But
that's true.
But to your point of authenticity, that misalignment literally does make us sick. And I've been in the holistic health coaching world since 2014, I think. So I've heard a lot of like the buzzword authentic, and it very much does become a buzzword, especially in like the social media age, where it's just like people want authentic content. Like there's no such fucking thing as authentic content. You are speaking into a goddamn phone. Okay. Like you can only go so far with that. So like, this idea of authenticity has become a buzzword more than anything. But what you're speaking about, ikigai, right? Did I say that right? Yeah. That is where I don't really remember exactly, but it's more of like this alignment with who you are in the world and how you behave in the world, or something like that.
Yeah, it's and I need to probably research this before I make a fool of myself, but it's a sort of like a Venn diagram. It's a Japanese philosophy Venn diagram overlap of what you love, what you can do well, like what you're good at, what people will pay you for, and sort of like what the world needs. And so it's you really want to find a balance between all of those things that that will find you most peace. And it's a good philosophy. And I want to sort of back up and say one thing. I come from Mississippi. My dad, I always joke to say, he grew up poor, became one of the first Black ophthalmologists in the state of Mississippi.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like the Martin Luther King Jr. of medicine, which was a lot to live up to.
Yeah.
But then I found out that Martin Luther King III like hosts a show on Discovery Plus, so I feel okay about my life. I'm
great.
good. I'm doing great. Yeah. But what we're saying for sure comes from a place of privilege. Not everyone
Absolutely.
has the ability to live their truest self,
100%.
or change their job, or live out their truest self because of their circumstances, because of the way the world is structured. So I want to be very aware and sensitive to the idea that not everybody can sort of follow this path, or has the options that others do. And so you really have to be mindful of that as well. With that said, finding some way in your life that brings you peace, whether it is religion. I mean, I come from a very religious background and my family's very religious, and I don't knock it. I love religion. I grew up Southern Baptist, and it provides the peace. I remember my grandmother on her deathbed, like that's what she said brought her the peace that she needed to sort of get through the hard times. And I think a lot of that is right for a lot of people. So I do like to push back a bit sometimes on how, especially in liberal cities, and kink scenes, there's like this pushback or war on say organized religion or structured society. And I don't want that to be the message, because there is an acceptance both ways, and appreciation for tradition, for religion, for heritage and culture and family, and all those things are super important. And they can fill the same need for some people that we say kink and self-expression fill for us.
But that's authenticity.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what authenticity is. And pretty much anything like kink, pleasure, authenticity, like that shit is all a fucking privilege, unfortunately. It's a human right, but the reality of living in the systems and the world that we live in means that all of these things are a privilege. The fact that you and I are sitting here right now is a fucking privilege. The fact that I live in Los Angeles is a privilege. The fact that I am a woman who can dye her hair purple, that's a fucking privilege. And it's so important that we are acknowledging all of the different levels. And I know a lot of people who are less fortunate feels like, they can feel like they don't have any privilege, but at any given time we hold power and we hold privilege. It just depends on the room that you're in and the people that you're with. All of these things are completely fluid. And when it comes to authenticity, I do love that you raised that, because it doesn't have to be this huge life-changing thing.
Right.
Your authenticity can come in the conversations that you have in your head. Your authenticity can come in the way that you love the closest people to you. Maybe it's not even the layer out. Maybe it's just one or two people that are the absolute closest to you. And those are the people who it's safe enough for you to not bullshit and for you to actually be yourself. It's about finding these little pockets where it is possible, and then seeing, is there a possibility for me to find 1% more in any area? And this is when it comes to who you are, how you show up, pleasure, any given, like I'm shifting my leg. I got a boot, y'all. I got a fucking boot on. So I'm like constantly, I'm 50. Yo, I cannot wait until I'm fucking 50. That entire fucking year, I'm going to go everywhere and just be like, I'm 50. It's going to be fucking great. I got like.
Only 50-years would get the reference, because they're like, I don't know what you're talking
about.
Yeah,
exactly. These kids are like.
They're like, who?
What?
SNL? What the hell's that? Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I love
but yeah, it's about the 1%. It's about like. So the point of me bringing the boot up, other than to say I'm 50, which I'm not yet, but I will be soon, is to say that I'm shifting my body, because I'm constantly right now dealing with pain. So I'm like, how can I get my body to feel just a tiny bit more comfortable? What do I need to do to adjust my current situation to make it just slightly better? I'm not going to fix anything. I'm not going to do anything drastic. I'm not going to get off this chair and go lay down. I'm just going to make it 1% better.
No one gets to see your underwear if you don't want them to. You could I'm wearing Spider-Man underwear right now, and you have no idea. So you can express yourself in ways that are just for you. I'm not going to show you guys. But it's for me. It's for me.
Yes.
So yeah.
There's so many different ways to do that. And it's great. And also shout out to Spider-Man undies.
I know, like I'm just trying to. Donald Glover did not get the role. I'm hopefully going to be pitching myself. Marvel, if you're listening, I'm available.
They're absolutely listening. Thank you for watching. So we just learned that you grew up in Mississippi.
Yeah.
Normally I would say, where did you grow up? And like this, I don't know why I started saying it that way. Yeah. I just like, I said it one day and then it just like,
it's a great game
happening.
show. I love that. Exactly. Like, where did you grow up? Like, dun, 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 dun.
There's so much of this that feels like a game show. Yeah. Like when I introduce people, I'm just like, it's just fucking me and these creatures. Please tell me you have a laugh track. Yeah.
Put a laugh track in
I know.
Yeah.
I do have to get a laugh track. Yeah. When I get an editor, I'm getting a laugh track.
Nice.
Sign up for Patreon. Link below.
That was the last check. I was like, yay!
So you grew up in Mississippi, big town, small town, where town?
I mean, there are no big towns in Mississippi.
Okay,
so yeah,
great.
It's Jackson, which is the biggest town in Mississippi, but relatively to LA, it's a small town. But it was great. I love Mississippi. I love growing up there. I love being from there, and then sort of leaving and then getting a different perspective of the way different people live. Like live in the most liberal of cities and also understand, I come from a red state. I understand the other side of it. And there is, in the same way that as a dom, I experience sub things, or as a top, I experience bottom things. As a Democrat, I experience Republican things. Yeah. As left, I experience right things. So you really have to sort of understand the bigger picture and not to other people or other things. And I think, for people who haven't gone to the South or visited or lived there, you just know what you see on television or see online, and like, that's not a great way to experience something. So I love my experience in Mississippi. I love my family. I love my friends there. It's like really great. And it kind of grounds me as well. So I'll go back home and they're like, what the hell are you drinking? Green juice?
Kinky Comedy?
Spirulina? What the hell?
Oats?
I know.
You're drinking oats?
Right. But I mean, of course, there's like healthy people in Jackson. We have a really great art scene there and like a lot of musicians and stuff. So it's not as one dimensional as people think. Like some of my favorite artists. I mean, Mississippi is a just a melting pot or not a melting pot, but a fertile ground.
Yeah, it's a fertile ground
for creative endeavors.
Absolutely, so, it is. So, what do you remember about your sex education
in Mississippi?
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you go to a public school or a private school?
I went to private school.
Was it a religious school or
it was an Episcopalian school, which is like the most liberal of Christian religions.
Okay.
Like,
they're like, we're gonna do it, but like not that much.
Yeah, exactly. They're like female priests.
We're gonna be chill about it. Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
I love
black
that.
people were hanging out in there. Like, it was awesome. It was like very one of the more liberal schools, which was a blessing and appreciated. But and so I think that we did have sex education. It was, man, I can't even remember. I know that what I remember about it is that I didn't quite understand it. I think I was a very late bloomer.
Yeah.
So a lot of these things, I was like, what? It felt like a science.
Sweet boy.
I was totally late bloomer. And I felt like it was like a science class rather than like a sex education class. I was like, oh, so mitosis and meiosis. And, I was like a nerd. So I was looking at it I didn't connect it to like, oh, this is like my body that's happening to until years later. So yeah, it was very scientific, I think, my sex education. I don't think I didn't really lose my virginity until like college, almost the year before college. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember if it was like multiple classes or just like you hit high school and they're going to give you what they need to from a scientific perspective and then they're out?
Yeah, it was a sort of a subsection of our science class. And so it was with Dr. Rose, Dr. Dan Rose, who was our
great name.
Yeah, he was an interesting.
He sounds like a sex ed teacher.
I mean, he had this cane that he walked with that was a petrified bull testicle that he got from Papua New Guinea, like on one of his expeditions. He kind of walked around with. He was like, "This is bull dick," and we're like, "You're our sex education teacher." So yeah, that was
checks out.
That was great. Yeah, so we got to.
Dr. Rose and his bull dick cane.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to
you.
To D Rose, yeah. So it was like a really interesting class, but it was there is a disconnect because, wherever it's taught, we evolve at different speeds. Mm-hmm. So some people might be like, oh yeah, this is what I did yesterday. And some people like me be like, it was disconnected from my body. I didn't know. So I feel like it's a hard thing because you kind of want sex education both early enough, but sort of at the right time.
Yeah.
Which is, you can't really predict that sometimes depending on how you develop. Yeah.
Well, and the answer to that, I think, is continuous education. So you're teaching people about their bodies at the appropriate times, which when we're talking about sex education in schools, that's literally what we're talking about. It's teaching people about their own bodies, teaching kids about their bodies before things happen to them, so they know what to expect. They know what this is. They know what that is. They can understand this feeling as it's happening. Then we start to integrate things like consent and feelings for other people. And what does that mean? And what does safety look like? And it's this ongoing, like, you don't fucking learn algebra in second grade. You learn how to count. It is the thing with sex education that is so fucking frustrating is that even still when they actually do teach it, which is unfortunately rare, it doesn't happen in every state and it doesn't have to be factual in every state. The numbers are really low.
Right.
But you just like pop in to do, like, most people that I talk to, they're like, yeah, I had it in like 5th grade and then in high school. And like, that was it. It was like a day here and a day here and that's it. As opposed to you're a little kid and you learn that like your body is your body and nobody gets to touch your body unless they ask, even if it's your shoulder, even if it's like, oh, someone wants to give you a hug. Well, they need to ask. And then you get to decide if you want to give that person a hug, especially if they're an adult. So it's like these teeny tiny little steps so that by the time you are experiencing things or not experiencing things, you're not as surprised and you're not like, it can keep up with wherever people are at on their own journey.
Once we all have meta glasses, it'll be great because it'll just get like a pop-up, like when you're in the scene, be like, it looks like you're taking someone's bra off. Do you want to, like, it's sort of like,
are you sure you want to continue?
Yeah, it's like click to continue.
Have them
like,
click yes or no.
Exactly. So in the future, AI will handle all this for us, but until then, we definitely need to like teach that. But yeah, I think it's like it's a interesting thing because I guess the one thing I don't agree with is just ignoring something and stuffing it in the closet, like abstinence only, not teaching things. There's not been any evidence that ignoring the fact that we have sexuality and urges means, leads to any great sort of outcome. So, I think that there needs to be some sort of acknowledgement of that. I think even if you are very religious and have very specific views on sex, totally valid, but to ignore that it exists or to not at least acknowledge it and figure out a way that you can teach it in a way that's aligned with your views or your values is very important. But just pretending that it doesn't exist or pretending that it's not a factor
it does harm.
It's at the very least unproductive and at the most does harm.
I mean, studies show that the kids who went through abstinence only, it might delay them having penis and vagina sex. And in some cases not, because there's soaking and there's jumping and there's all these other like workarounds that they try to create when it's like, no, you're still doing the thing.
Workarounds is the hottest way you could have described that. It's like workaround. You want to do some workarounds?
It's a workaround. Soaking. Your dick is inside her. Like, what are you doing? You're fucking is what you're doing in a very lazy way. But the studies have shown that it might delay the first time that they experience penis and vagina sex. And when they finally do, or when they do, regardless of any finalies, they're not going to be using protection and they're not going to be doing it in a way that reduces harm, that actually protects them. That's going to prevent STIs. That's going to prevent pregnancy. That's going to prevent abuse because they're so afraid to be caught with like a condom or having the conversation or admit that they're coming back to shame, being afraid to be kicked out of the community. So obviously I agree with your point, but like 1,000%, it does harm when we just ignore anything. Think about like men. Actually, I'm going to talk to the men for a second in here.
Yeah. What's up, dogs?
What's up, baby?
What's up, players? How you
doing?
Listen,
when y'all have a little tickle in your tummy or you have a little thing in your brain or like something is hurting you and you're like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. And then it fucking turns out to be cancer or whatever it is, it's a fucking problem. We cannot ignore these things. So now is a good time for you to check your balls, check your testes, check all those things, get your blood work done for prostate cancer, and don't ignore the things that come up, because when you ignore them, you're only going to lead to harm. It is a problem. We have to acknowledge the things that are in front of us. So that's just a PSA for my men out there.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Pew, 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 pew.
I was born in 1978.
Honestly, I do say that a lot too. Chickadee, check yourself before you wreck yourself. It's like
the 90s were lit.
So fucking lit. That's why everything about them is coming back, because none of us can handle the current state of reality. Let's go with friends, because that's another way that so many people like learn about stuff. So you were in a religious school. Were your friends kind of like also scientifically minded? Did you find yourself in a group?
I was a late bloomer.
You were just like the one that's like, what?
Yeah, I was like, what's going on? I'm still a late bloomer and slow to things. But I think, there was, like in any high school, like, oh, these people are having, someone touch someone's penis. And like, there was like and there were like parties where it was funny, like you go to parties and people drink like fake beer or, non-alcoholic beer. And they're like, I'm so drunk. Let me, and it's really funny. All those teen comedy sort of tropes exist. But I think what's important and fun is that you're all kind of going through it together. And so there is like a, it's the worst time in everyone's life, teenage years, but at least you have people on the journey with you. And that's like the first time that you value these people were on this journey with me. And while you may not be friends with your high school friends to this day, but for obvious reasons, there is a camaraderie there that is a good lesson after you get out of it, that you're like, oh yeah, that was terrible. And then you sort of get to know who you are, and then you can sort of make better friends. So I was a late bloomer, but my friends were super cool. And, I got to listen to their cool stories and, figure it out later. But then obviously I caught up and may have even gone too far at this point. But
I wouldn't say too far. No red light yet.
I know, I'm like still looking for my high school crush.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all? To get that feeling again. My goodness. But you raise a really good point again about community, because even on your kink journey, you're going to find people that are kind of in a similar place too. And I think sometimes you in the lifestyle in general, like you'll find people that may be in a similar place than you, or like maybe some others are advanced, but you find yourself on this journey with groups of friends and this journey with people once you really like find community. And I think it's another area where not like you're a bunch of high schoolers, because obviously we're all consenting adults, but there is also that feeling of we're on this journey together.
Yeah.
And we're sharing our experiences and we're learning together. Maybe we're going to workshops together. Maybe we're going to play parties together. Maybe we're going to Munches together. And it's really, there are just not too many places outside of like, if you're going to go get a certification and be on a journey together, or if you're going to be like, I guess on a work journey together, that it's different. Like a work journey is like, okay, we work together, whatever. But I think there's really something special there that also taps into that beginner's mind and the essence of what it felt like to be a teenager learning about this stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm far off with that?
No, I love that. It basically, kink is just a workplace team building exercise. It's like, it's just
group sex is definitely a team building exercise. I gotta tell you.
I mean, trust falls are how I like to get down. I'm like, hey babe, let's do a trust fall. One dick. No.
I love that. I love that.
But it's funny you mentioned Munches, which for those of you who don't know, are basically just sort of non-sexual meetups, or in a space like a public, like a bar or things like that. But for people who are in lifestyle or kink and want to sort of explore, so it gives you like a nice low stakes, low risk environment to get to know people. That was one of the central concepts that I brought and came like that was one of the central concepts behind Kinky Comedy.
Yeah.
So it's funny. So basically I don't know, about 2 years ago, maybe more than that, slightly more than that, lost my job, my girlfriend, and my place in the same month. It was like a terrible like month. So I was like, oh, let me, be a stand-up comedian because I have the prerequisites.
Because all this shit just happened and I got to talk about it.
Hey,
therapy's expensive and I got no insurance anymore.
I'm a cry or laugh, right? So like it was an interesting, I had like a corporate job. Like I said, I was in entertainment for quite some time, working NBC, BuzzFeed, the LA Times. I had like a legitimate career. I have a background in artificial intelligence programming. So like from 2001. So I had definitely different stages of my career. And I've always been attracted to comedy. I used to do improv comedy back when I was living in New York and loved it. And so, took a class, sort of got into it and loved doing stand-up, and quickly met my partner, Justin. And I asked him, I was like, I love this comedy thing, but like, how do you make money in comedy? Like, and he took a beat. He was very puzzled. He was like,
listen, child.
Yes. He was like,
you sweet boy.
Sit down, bud. Let me, give you a tutor. And he was basically like, you have, the best way, or one of the best ways, is to create a show.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. And I looked around and sort of tried to figure out the things that I was interested in, which is obviously I had a kink background and had a huge community of wonderful people that just were so supportive and are so supportive that I love. And you really brought those things together and wanted to sort of do a show in my backyard that had some burlesque and those elements of performance, had quality comedy. So it was not just we're going to see a talent show with our friends. Like, these are just world-class headlining comedians. And then like a kinky game section at the end. And it was luckily I had a great backyard, and I started just doing it, which is the hardest step to sort of like just getting it off the ground.
Yeah.
And Justin came from the comedy world. Like, I've been doing kink for 10 years. He's been doing comedy for 10 years, just about. And so bridging those together and him bringing the comedians sort of added legitimacy to the show. And I think from the beginning, it kind of took off, and it was amazing. And then very quickly, we started working with Vanessa, who does our marketing branding, and she had a relationship with Spotlight. So we got to move to this amazing venue in Hollywood.
Beautiful. And it's also kind of kinky. I love the tassels. It looks like it's got titty tassels or floggers, whatever you want to see them as, a little bit of both. It's so perfect for what you're doing.
Exactly.
Like,
I feel
literally
like when you are in flow and sort of doing something, every step, I mean, it's been hard, but every step felt, there's an ease to every step. It's sort of like the next step felt very logical. It was sort of like, okay, we're here. This opportunity opened up. Yeah, let's move to Spotlight.
Sure.
Justin had a relationship with a venue in San Diego. Let's move to San Diego. Let's open in San Diego. I sort of we're going on a lifestyle, a cruise next. We're the featured performer at a cruise next week, sort of a clothing optional cruise with Fantasy, Margaritaville. So shout out.
I hope everybody cheers. Well, everyone with a penis cheers for you by doing the helicopter.
Honestly, that is how we go. No clapping, no snapping, just helicopter. Yeah, that's prepare yourselves.
Yeah, no, I love that.
It's really hard to do, of course, when you're erect. So I'll definitely keep that in mind. But so every step has been really, and we've been moving really quickly, but it's been such a fun, amazing experience. And obviously having a partner who is amazing and you get along with him, we're friends and we have similar interests, makes it so much more fun. And while, we're not yet, we're it's making money, but it's not like, providing for my lifestyle. There is a path there.
Yeah.
And it's sort of exciting, but like, honestly, it's almost, I'm enjoying my life, enjoying what I'm doing. And if you focus on that, then I'm sure the money comes, all the kind of success comes. So all the things that they say are totally true when you sort of do what you love. And I'm blessed of obviously my partner, our team with Vanessa and Tia doing social media, and Nat doing social media for us. And then my community who comes up and just supports and shows up. And then like people who don't even know me or Justin or the team. And they're like, we just heard about your show, which is amazing. I love when
people come to me and they're like, oh, have you heard of Kinky Comedy? And I was like, why, yes, I have.
It's wild.
It's so fucking
people
fun.
come up to me like, I heard about Kinky Comedy. I'm like, you heard about this? Like literally it was in my backyard like 2 years ago. So crazy. Yeah.
And it's been such a joy to watch it develop as well, like as your friend and as supporters, and just, seeing that pathway, that's actually how I spent my birthday this year, is I went to Kinky Comedy the day
nice.
before.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the day before my birthday. But it is such a joy. I mean, my kink is definitely watching people succeed and like watching things grow and develop over time. I just like, I absolutely love that. And it has been such a joy to see the community show up. Shout out to all of our friends. Hi.
What's going on?
It's been a joy to see it grow, to see. I never made it to the fucking backyard shows, and I was so bummed. It was always on a night. I think it used to be like the same night as Lovely Fate or something like that for a long time.
Yeah.
There was something going on where I was like, every time. So I was pissed that I could never go, but I was always there in spirit. But it has been really wonderful to watch it go from this little idea in your backyard, which I fucking knew it was fire. Like I knew as soon as I heard Kinky Comedy and I knew that Tia was booking performers, I was like, this is great, because that's part of like what this show is too. And I'm like, if you're a producer and you work in entertainment, you fucking know the formula. It's a fucking great formula.
Yeah.
And it's community oriented. And to see it grow, like I remember you going to the spotlight and it was like, fuck yeah. And then seeing you expand to San Diego, seeing that you're expanding to New York, seeing that you're expanding to the cruises, and that you're getting the attention and this credibility that you both really deserve for creating something so wonderful is such a fucking joy to watch. It's congratulations, because it's a great show, and it's just a fucking joy. Go to Kinky Comedy.
Come to Kinky Comedy. It's really great. I think, well, thank you for that. It means so much. I think, there are many reasons why it works, and it was something I really wanted to do. It was one of those things where you look around, I'm like, okay, what have I been doing? What am I interested in? What kind of works? And sort of putting those pieces together. Another really reason that I was excited about it, because I wanted to create something from the community that could be an actual business or creation that could sort of work, because oftentimes we'll be with our community or go to parties or sort of hang out, and then it's fun, but then we have to go to back to the real world and have our jobs and our day jobs, and that's great, and that has to be for some people. But I was curious. I was like, could you do this and create a life and a world that are sort of synergistic? And so this was an attempt at that, and I'm really proud about that, because there's been other friends who started other endeavors like Monogamish and Tracy, and and Michael does the play, and so like, I mean, not that they all came downstream of this, but
sure, but everyone's on their own path.
And so you see, Comma with Derek, so like you see these businesses and structures sort of emerging that sort of holds up the community and becomes sort of pillars, or at least touch points, or just examples that you can do something too. And like that, like it really also is flattering when people say, I loved watching your journey. It's helped me do something or inspired me to do this. And it's like, I love that. It's really fulfilling. So I'm glad I can't imagine not doing it. At this point.
I feel like that about this show too, is like I had to take like a year and a half off because I did 54 episodes in 56 weeks.
Ooh. And
production. So that's a fucking lot. And then I was also busy with other things. So I just I did not have the capacity to come back, but it was also like, that's fine, because it's not going away, because I have to do this thing. Like it's not gone forever. I'm just needing a break so that I can come back and produce it in the way that it needs to be produced.
And you go at your own pace.
Yeah, you go at your own pace. So anything is possible if you believe and are a little bit kinky. Okay, you don't have to be kinky, but if you are, I'm just saying that's possible too. Call us. Speaking of, where can people find you?
KNKYcomedy.com, KNKYcomedy.com is our website, at KNKYcomedy on Instagram or on YouTube. We're going to be on TikTok. So that's how you can find the show. Me as a comedian is Maurice James Comedy on Instagram. It's funny because I'm developing the show and also trying to develop as a comedian.
Don't forget about yourself too.
Yeah,
because you're booking other shows, you're hosting other shows, you're booking other shows.
Yeah,
two things.
It is, and it's sort of it's funny. Justin said this show was the both best and worst thing for my development as a comedian.
Yeah, for sure.
Because most comedians, you do comedy and then maybe you started getting a show and they come in sequence. Mine started kind of a little bit in reverse, where I started with the show. And so a lot of my development is development as a comedian, I'm now trying
We're
to make
seeing
sure
it in real time.
In real time, yeah, exactly. Like some of those gigs and host jobs were not so great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it's kind of fun to do both at the same time.
And here, let me also remind you, please do not ever film a comedian, because when you see a live show, most comedians are working on their material. Take photos, tag them, talk about how fucking hilarious they are. But please, for the love of all things holy, do not film a comedian doing their set. Film the dancers, film other performers, but don't film the comedians, please. Leave that to them, because when they have material that is ready to be shared, they will absolutely share it, and it fucks things up when you do it. So don't be that person.
I mean, kink and comedy are the same. Don't film without consent. So
100%. But dancers, we love it. So please film the dancers and always tag us and give us lots of attention, because we do love that.
I love that. I love that.
You know, they're different things. So I'm going to tease us, because we love a little tease. And I'm going to read the 2 stories that I pulled for us to do on Reddit. And that's going to be over on Patreon. So you're going to have to go over to Patreon to see the rest of this. So I'll read them, and then we're going to say goodbye. So the first story is, my life has imploded. Husband, 29 male, slept with my mom, 55 female, right before we got married 2 years ago, plus update. 2 years ago? 2 years ago. Okay. I would have thought that would have been recent, but we're gonna find out more. And then the other story, if we have time, which hopefully we have time. Oh no, why are you? Oh my God, this iPad is going bonkers. I told my girlfriend I sometimes think about other girls during sex, and she lost it. So we're gonna dig into those.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's fucking go. But for now, we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.
Hey.
What did I say? I said something fucking golden with Justin. Oh, thanks for coming. I hope you come again and again and again and again. See you on Patreon.